podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point.
What the hell is going on this planet? According to NASA, an underwater volcano nicknamed Sharkano.
Am I wearing a blue shirt?
No.
Am I wearing a green shirt?
Yes.
Hey, Segovia. Back with another one. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, y'all. We got a good one coming up today. Today's video, we got some DARPA being 20 years ahead. We got some sharks popping out of volcanoes with 30 eyes. We got some crazy things happening in this world, like always lately. Let's get into it, y'all. Before we get into it, make sure you guys watch from start to finish, y'all. That really helps the channel grow. But with that being said, let's do what we all came here for. Let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
We want to hear your Skinwalker story.
And there's a guy named Joe, let me read this, and he has the scariest Skinwalker story ever that I was told. He's in this town in Colorado, in the middle of nowhere, driving at night, and when you're out there, there's like, is it elk? Or
Yeah.
I think there's elk or some sort of big like deer animal everywhere. Yeah. So you have to drive with your brights on and kind of drive slow, or else you'll just run into one and kind of kill everyone in the car.
Yeah,
if you do.
They're massive.
Huge. And they're just in the road. So they're driving, middle of the night, pitch black, no light pollution, nothing. And they see a deer in the road. And they slow down, and it doesn't move, which is a little bit odd, but not that odd. When they pass by it, they kind of look at the face, and it looks peculiar. They're like, did a double take, like, what the heck? That looked odd. It was a deer, but it looked odd. They keep driving. They're driving like 30. And he looks in the rearview mirror, and the deer still didn't move, and it's turning like towards his car and following their car.
Oh no.
He speeds up a little bit, and the deer is running faster now, like 30, 40 miles an hour, following behind their car. Yes. And eventually the deer gets up. He said this, and he swears it's true, and it's been corroborated by multiple family members that it's true. It gets up on his hind legs, the deer, and they're going like 70 now, and it runs all the way up to his like window right here. He's driving, and it runs up to the window, and it's banging on the door, and it has like a human face. It's a deer on his hind legs with a human face running 80 next to them in the middle of the night in Colorado, nowhere town. And they said they sped up to like, I don't know what they sped up to, but they sped up enough to where it couldn't keep up anymore. But the next morning, like the car is like torn up, and there's witnesses that like the car, the window is just like completely wrecked. There's scratches and like dents all over the driver's side door, and they said it was just the scariest thing. And
Controversies that we moved on way too quickly from part 2. The trillions of dollars that were listed as missing from the Pentagon the day right before 9/11. On September 10th, 2001, the Secretary of Defense at the time, Donald Rumsfeld, gave a speech and said, "Sorry, we lost over $2 trillion in our defense budget, and we have no way to track it." How convenient. Brittany Murphy and her husband perishing from pneumonia within 6 months of each other, and they allegedly had some really dirty info on Diddy. And if you need to be reminded, that's how Kim Porter died. The Texas State Representative, Kay Grant.
Before we go on, but see what I say a lot in these videos? The machine wasn't done with Diddy back then. So they gave him pneumonia, right? They offed him. We're not done with them. You can't talk about them now. Now that we're done with them, you guys can make all the documentaries you want. I mean, you guys have been knowing this, since the late 80s, early 90s. I haven't seen that documentary, but that's what it looks like. Like they're bringing up stories from back then. Why didn't no one tell us back then? 50. Why didn't you tell us back then? Because the machine wasn't done with them, or else you would have gotten pneumonia. You know what I mean? So don't worship these people, these celebrities that are so-called exposing and all that. Because back in the day, Brittany Murphy and his ex-wife were trying to expose them. They got offed. The machine wasn't done.
Ranger, who was found wandering aimlessly around, suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's, was put into a home, and she didn't cast her vote. And after like 6 months, she was finally found in an assisted living facility. And she was still being paid. Miami Mall incident. There's no way you warranted this much of a police force over some people fighting in a fist fight. They know what happened. If you know, you know. And finally, yes,
This one was...
Yiddish in the floorboards in New York City. And I'm not even really sure what came of that. Did anything happen from that? I'm pretty sure there was some mattresses found in some really creepy places down there.
Bunk beds.
And what makes this funnier is the guy who called it out, and people said that he was prejudiced, he was discriminatory, and then he posted on Twitter, "Y'all owe me a fucking apology." Some of these are so crazy that I can't believe they're not still being played in the news today. I'm judging us for moving on way too quickly from those.
This is Ponte Tower in Johannesburg, South Africa. And this is the highest residential building on the whole continent of Africa. And during the 90s and the early 2000s, it was the most feared building in the country, and it was overrun by gang members and criminals. And this tower was designed to be a luxury white-only apartment block during the apartheid. Loads of people were killed and thrown to their death from the very top down to here. This is crazy. This is probably one of the most unique buildings I've ever seen in my life. And I really like brutalism architecture, and this is a classic example of that. And at one point, this hollow cord I'm standing in now used to be filled up with rubbish all the way up to the 14th floor, which is probably where my finger is. People used to just chuck their rubbish from any level all the way down here.
Can you imagine living in that?
I have had a lot of strange people on my tours over the years. I do a vampire tour. There was a couple. They asked it to be a private tour. They both gave off a weird vibe. And they were asking really detailed questions about vampires and what I knew about like Saint Germain, what my thoughts were about different people who had been accused of vampirism throughout the years. Not things that normal people that are interested in vampires usually would ask. At the end of the tour, they asked me to walk them to their car.
Walk them
to their car. And I said, I'm sorry, I have another tour. They're like, okay. They got in the car and they sat there. When I left for the evening, I drove back by. The car was still sitting there. They weren't there. The next day, the car was still there. The car didn't belong to them. When I reached out to ask them if everything was okay, my emails all bounced and the phone number didn't work.
Do you conclude that they might have been vampires?
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I've encountered one, so...
The thing with Hollywood is, man, it's the land that you come to make dreams come true. If you're not coming with an idea to the land, ain't nothing coming true.
Can someone come to Hollywood and not do drugs?
Yeah.
And be successful?
Oh, hell yeah.
Just making sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Just making sure.
Hell yeah. That's easy.
It's not a requirement.
Bro, the requirement is you gotta say no Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
Nigga, you can take the bitch, but he wants you. He ain't worried about that bitch. He is not worried about that bitch at all. Okay, he ain't worried about your bitch.
The coach of Michigan had an affair with a staffer. People are upset that she's being outed, but I don't know. She's a main player in this, so I don't know if she should be off in obscurity. You know, she is an adult, but he is married. He has 3 to 4 kids from what I've heard. Hooked up with her with an affair. Got her pregnant, forced her to have an abortion, did pay for it, doubled her salary at the University of Michigan as a staffer. Michigan finds out, obviously. They fire the coach. Coach gets into an argument with his wife yesterday. I can only imagine it's about this. I would only imagine as your world's ending, you're losing your job, your wife's finding out.
Why catch a charge on top of it?
So he tells his wife he's going to himself. So then he goes to this girl's house. He goes and breaks in and puts a knife to his throat and says, I'm going to kill myself, but I'm taking you first.
Oh my goodness.
It was something along those lines. The guy got arrested. So I don't know what happened there, but he ended up leaving and they ended up picking him up, I think, around a church that was in the area. But that's kind of like the Cliff Notes version of what happened yesterday with the...
Okay, guys.
You know, that's where he went wrong. Where he went wrong was giving her double pay raise, paying for her, Plan B pill, whatever, with the school's money. That's where he went wrong. If he wouldn't have done that, yeah, you probably would have got dismissed of your charges, but you probably would have been able to go coach somewhere else, right? Because that happened with the Boston Celtics head coach. Was it Boston Celtics head coach? He had an affair with one of the executives or maybe the owner's wife or something like that. And right, you just played it cool. Yeah, you might lose your current wife, your family, maybe you can rekindle that, right? But he got moved. Now he's coaching in Houston, right? He played it, You guys caught me. I made a mistake, whatever, right? This guy gave that girl a double pay raise from the school, paid for a plan B. And then after everything, he got in a fight with his wife and then went to her house, the girl he was having an affair with, threatened to off her and then off himself. Like that, you're never going to coach again. You're done. Your career's done because of that. If you would have played it cool, hey, I made a mistake, take a loss. I probably lost my family. Maybe in a couple years we can work through it. But you'll probably have your career still just somewhere else other than Michigan. But he went off the deep end, y'all, and now he's got to pay the consequences for that.
News, we've just got a bunch of really strange, never-seen-before images from the Epstein files, which include the likes of Trump, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Richard Branson, and more. And we'll talk about why they're so strange in a second. So there was about 19 released in total. This is one of Trump with 6 women whose faces
like
have been redacted for privacy. There's another one of him on a private jet with another unknown woman. We have Trump seen at another party with Epstein. Here's the strangest one by far. A picture of a Trump condom for sale with text saying, "I'm huge." We've got Bill Gates with one of the pilots, a bunch of pictures on the wall actually, of redacted women's faces and what appears to be Bill Gates on a jet. We've got Bill Gates and Andrew. You've got a few pictures of Steve Bannon with Epstein and Richard Branson as well. But the strangest part about all of these is that no one really knows why these images in particular were released. As far as we know, none of these images that were released depict any sexual misconduct, or they're not believed to have depict any underage girls either. And apparently, to make this even stranger, the Democrat House Committee have received over 95,000 photos from the Epstein estate. So again, why these now? They did say that they would be releasing more of these images to the public in the days and weeks ahead. So, what do you guys think?
They found grenades inside of Goodwill out there in Palatka, Florida. So they basically are putting them inside of the bins, and also they put it in the kids section. So everybody was evacuated, y'all. It just happened, y'all. It's crazy. That means if somebody would have pulled that pin inside of Goodwill, it would have exploded and killed everybody in that building. Y'all, I don't know what's happening to this world, man. I pray to God, man, that, you know, they find this person. I will update y'all. Make sure y'all follow me. Please follow me.
And you know, if a kid finds that and you know he's gonna pull the pin, right? You know he is. I know I would if I was a kid. Maybe when I'm older and it's heavy, I don't think I'm gonna pull that pin. But you never know, y'all. That could have went south real quick if the wrong person got his hand on it. Probably a veteran or something that dealt with grenades before got his hands on it. It was like, this thing's legit. It's live, you know? So thankfully it didn't land in a young one's hand, because you know curiosity, you would have pulled that pin.
And I'm gonna go over some more information. I got it. You hear it first here, man.
But before Prince overdosed,
You mean died because he talked about chemtrails?
he was asking a lot of questions on network TV.
You should.
He was saying like their food is poisoning us, they're trying to keep us hooked on drugs. On like Good Morning America.
They're like, ooh.
I know.
But they could cut
Diane
they
Sawyer
could-
would be like, so tell us more about Little Red Beret. He'd be like, well, I looked up one day and the chemtrails, he talked about in his neighborhood growing up, a plane would go by and then all of a sudden everyone would start fighting in the neighborhood.
Wow.
When I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time and say, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing and you didn't know why. Okay? And you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting.
What about dying in the elevator? They found him in the elevator. You know the song, nothing's gonna let the elevator break us down. Oh no, let's go. Well, they found him in the doggone elevator.
That's how sick the
How
the
many
powers that
years
be
does
are.
a tree grow this big? The answer is 66 million years. Most people believe this is the largest tree in the world, standing at an overall height of 867 feet, with a base diameter of about 800 feet. According to Arapaho legend, a little girl turned into a bear and, while chasing her siblings, accidentally harmed her sister. When her sister didn't recover, the bear girl climbed to the top of the tree, abandoning her family to protect them. The bear's claw marks were left on the side of the tree. It wasn't until 1875 that an explorer named Dodge climbed it and discovered it wasn't a tree, but a massive rock formation, which he named Devil's Tower. Many Native Americans believe it is sacred and should not be climbed because of its unique cultural significance and shape. Devil's Tower became the first national monument in the United States. More than 400,000 visitors climb Devil's Tower each year. It's hard to imagine the breathtaking view from the top.
Am I wearing a...
Figures English or Spaniard settler comes and climbs it and says, "This is not a tree because I say so. I climbed it and it's not a tree. But we're going to call it Devil's Tower. Of all things, we're going to call it Devil's Tower." Can't make that stuff up, y'all.
Shirt? No. Am I wearing a green shirt?
Getting smarter.
What's up, bud? We're going to play a game. Rule number 1, you have to answer in a yes or no format. Rule number 2, you have to be completely truthful. Rule number 3 is you cannot hold back any sort of answer.
All right, that sounds straightforward. I'm all set.
Are we being watched?
Yes.
By who?
You're scared now?
Is somebody watching us right now?
Yes.
Are aliens real?
Yes.
Is God real?
Yes.
Are we living in the Matrix?
Yes.
Is AI as dangerous as people say it is?
Yes.
Am I wearing a blue shirt?
No.
Am I wearing a green shirt?
Yes.
Holy sh**. Is Armand wearing a hat?
No.
Okay, cool.
Well, hold on. Point your phone to him
Okay,
and
hold
then
on.
ask.
Is Armand wearing a hat?
Yes.
Okay, bro.
Has anyone tested this? Is
All
this
right,
legit?
wait. You gotta, guys. That is insane.
We as kids. I mean, is that the same thing as pretty much playing with the Ouija board? Just the 2025 version of the Ouija board? I mean, you do the same thing. You ask it questions and it moves. Yes, no, whatever. Spell something out. Is that the same thing? Is that what they're doing without even realizing it?
80s used to watch television, and I can't tell you, you guys know this, how many ads for cereals we saw. And cereal and what we eat today, dried cereal and skim milk, was invented to make men less manly, to keep our urges down, to block testosterone, because Seventh-day Adventists and Dr. Kellogg believed that men having sexual urges was bad. So let's dry and roll corn and we will keep them from wanting to reproduce. Literally. And there's more to that. I mean, this is in the last 100 or so years, and yet everyone's now saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We need to have skim milk, which God never created to be eaten. If he wanted it, he would have had a cream separator on the udder of a cow or a goat or sheep. And then a cereal that was meant to actually cause issues.
So people that have never broken a bone, they're supposed to endure emotional pain more than physical pain. Whoa! In life. Whoa! Yeah, and so the reason for that is like, the universe knows that you're already going through so much emotional pain. That's why they're protecting you from all the physical pain. I knew that was gonna get to you because I do the same shit, fam. I've never broken a bone. I go through shit mentally all the time.
Damn.
Yeah. Yes,
Damn,
fam.
that makes a lot of sense.
I knew you were gonna get. I knew that was gonna hit that. I knew. Yo, when I read this, I was going to my notes. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna get him, and that was the perfect reaction.
Wow.
If you don't know him, yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's actually crazy.
yeah, fam.
You know what I heard too?
Yeah.
You're a firstborn, right?
Yeah, firstborn.
There's a theory on the firstborn.
Of what?
And it's actually in the Bible.
Oh shit.
Oh, this was in yesterday's clip.
Every firstborn, they have one duty. And they have one purpose they have to fulfill.
If you've never broken a bone, you might just want to listen to this. There are some crazy theories about people who have never broken a bone, and they've become a bit of a hit online. So let's have a look at them. So theory number 1 is spiritual protection. Apparently, there is a spiritual reason to why people have never broken a bone, and that's because they are protected by spiritual protection. Almost untouchable in a weird sense, protected by the higher powers. Interesting. Theory number 2 is good karma. Now the theory is that these types of people possess good karma, positive karma, which they've earned by doing good actions and kind deeds. So this apparently protects the individuals from coming to any harm. Interesting. So the last theory is past life experiences. And it is said that those people in this life who have never broken a bone may have experienced significant trauma in a past life. So the theory suggests that they are basically being spared having similar experiences in this life than what they did in their past life. Interesting. I have broken several bones, so it's irrelevant to me. But have you ever broken a bone?
Have you guys ever broken? I broke my pinky, but I was just thinking when I was watching this, you don't see people walking around with the cast no more. When was the last time you've seen somebody walking around, a young adult? You got to be careful what you say. I can't even say the KID word, right? A young adult. When was the last time you've seen somebody walking around a Walmart with the cast on? I cannot remember a time I've seen somebody walking around with the cast on. That just hit me right now.
Never broken a bone in their body at any point in their life is meant to experience
I
so
broke my
much
pinky
immense
playing
physical,
football.
emotional, and spiritual challenges that they are at least spared from breaking a bone.
Holy shit.
So it means, like, if you've broken a bone, you're going to have...
So you're having a bit of physical issues, but like you're having such emotional turmoil that the universe is like, let's not break any bones. Fuck, you'd prefer to break a couple of bones.
Oh, at this point, I would have preferred, yeah.
Erica Kirk has fired back at Candace Owens, and it's an all-out war.
Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people.
Now that was Erica Kirk on Fox alluding to one particular podcaster making hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, which sounds very direct, very much like Candace Owens. Now she sounds pretty pissed being that Candace Owens is making money off of Charlie's death when she's just asking the right questions, but she forgot the part to tell you that she's on a promo tour promoting Charlie's book called Stop in the Name of God, in which he may or may not have finished, but magically comes out after he dies. Also, if you pay attention, in the interview, she says, "Pardon my French," which I felt like it was a shot at Candace wrapped in code, because who did Candace say who was trying to assassinate her? The French. Not to mention, according to Candace, since Charlie has died, TPUSA has made over $100 million, so that's definitely the pot calling the kettle black. And speaking of books, we still don't know how this happened, where a book called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk was published a day before he actually dies. I'm just saying, I have questions just like Candace has questions, so maybe that's why they're pissed at her, because she's right over the target. But wait, there's more. I mean, nobody finds this suspicious that she has acting chops because she was featured in a music video for a country star and this reality show from 2019 called Summer House, where she went on a blind date. You mean to tell me that Kash Patel tells everybody he's gonna see Charlie Kirk in Valhalla, and Tyler Robinson has a picture of Goat Island, New Zealand, in which they have a summer house called Valhalla? Yeah, the same name, Summer House, as the reality show Erica Kirk was on. Come on, you guys. You have to know at this point they are playing in your faces. And maybe, just maybe, I added more fuel to this fire because my video on Erica Kirk did over 14 million hits, in which I was explaining her parents are government contractors, she has former TV experience, your mom did black ops in Iraq and specializes in blackouts, and you may or may not be involved in that whole kid thing in Romania. And a little birdie told me that she's actually not allowed in Romania, allegedly. Now, there's a whole lot more, and I break all this down on my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, so make sure you guys go check that out. I'm Team Candace. What about you guys? Let me know what you guys think down below.
I'm sorry, but something is very, very off about this. Watch this. Watch your eyes.
Pastor Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's. At one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
That's like terrible acting, right? Like, I mean, that wasn't like a natural. That wasn't natural.
Stop.
Stop.
That's it.
Just stop.
That's all I have to say.
I believe Scarface said it best, y'all. The eye is Chico. They never lie.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are today? The more we learn about this covenant of God,
See, what's got everybody riled up, Miss Kirk, is the fact that this right here is 9/11. You know what I mean? The official story doesn't add up. Keep asking questions, and you're saying it doesn't add up. To stop asking questions. That's not what any of us are going to do. There are, you know how many anomalies there are with this, and, you know, and don't get I'm not even going to bring up the Romanian angel situation. Y'all look that up too if you really want to learn a few things about what's going on with that situation. Yeah.
Now, stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop. The podcaster Candace Owens. Okay?
Here's her
At
reaction.
one time, a friend of Charlie's. At one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
So this is just, to me, I'm going to also let you know, they pre-recorded this. Obviously, I told you this yesterday, from about 11 o'clock to 4 p.m. I have sources just everywhere, CBS News. The people that were in the audience I showed you were emailing me, and they had to do multiple takes because Barry wanted to read a prompter. These questions were pre-submitted, okay? And I would like to respond to this loaded question. What would you like to say? The podcaster Candace Owens, and I'm not even going to address this repeat talking point about people making money, except for the people that have actually made off of all of the money, millions upon millions of dollars. But this is the new thing. It's like, if you keep doing what you were already doing in podcasting, or keep doing what you were already doing and doing ballistics on YouTube, if you catch a bunch of views, they want to convince you that, like, you wake up and you turn into a millionaire. Building her business. What are you talking about? I already had this business. I was already at top of the charts. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I actually did, because it's so ridiculous. Okay. But she says, I'm lying. And Eric responds, and her answer to what do you want to say to the podcaster Candace Owens who is lying is stop. So Erica would like me to stop lying. And I would like to honor that. Okay. I can only honor that if Erica is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about. You could just start, like, going through them. Maybe they will. By the way, it's coming on Saturday. Maybe I've made a mistake somewhere, and I'm happy. I want to correct that, right? I'm not interested. My goal is not to tell lies. It is obviously plausible that I have made mistakes. I've reviewed these lists that we've put together, and I can't find the lie. Okay. The lies that I find are coming out of Turning Point USA. Why is there not this same energy also for the feds? Because they've told some lies. So what am I lying about? Explicitly lying about. Not made a molecular or a minor mistake. We've got a time zone wrong. And then it's like, she lied. The plane left a couple of hours earlier. Maybe somewhere I made a mistake on a timeline of Charlie being here on this day when he's actually there on that day. But I'm talking, like, where am I lying? Because I would like to stop if you can tell me.
Hey, check this out. Erica Franciv, 2019, and Yair Netanyahu. Shabbat Shalom.
No, seriously, what is this place?
This is heaven.
Just to get an idea, this thing's like 10 feet wide. Thing is insane. It's like 10 feet wide. Make it make sense, St. John's Divine.
Only put a face to it.
Archways. People. Archways. See? St. John's the vine. Make it make sense. Come on, St. John's Divine. Come on, St. John's Divine. Make it make sense. What does that have to do with God? Make it make sense, St. John's Divine. Would it be a day without the lines? Make it make sense.
Apparently there are sirens, aka mermaids, underneath the Navy Pier in Chicago, and instead of doing what any rational adult would do, which is to say that's fake and move on with their life, I am currently white-knuckling a deep dive on this because I have too many water signs in my chart to be trusted.
See entering extraterrestrial beings with a thermal camera.
I don't have my thermal camera with me because, you know, when people keep talking about the whole reptilian thing, but reptiles are cold-blooded.
The weather model.
When you walk around with that thermal camera, and you got it with you all day,
no heat images.
You learn things about your environment. Like you learn that everybody around you ain't a flesh and blood human being.
Okay. So let's go back.
And that's something that I don't think nobody will really put their name behind, but.
So you said there's a lot of beings here.
For sure. Everybody we see is not a flesh and blood human being like we would think.
Absolutely.
So it's just like
there we go.
They're among us. It's just like the movie.
They walk among us.
They walk among us.
You remember on They Live, he threw the glasses down. He's seeing through the veil, the skeleton, the exo. Throw the glasses up, normal life. You know they have other cameras that can capture your aura. So what he's saying isn't BAP. It's not BAP.
I was offered the gold juice 3 times in my 20s, my 30s, and
What's
my
that?
40s. The
Burbank.
gold juice that I will live forever and I'll have whatever I want. The gold juice. You never offered the gold juice?
No, I'm a scumbag comic. What's the gold juice?
It's always their excuse, huh? I'm
I
gonna
don't know,
call you.
but I didn't drink it and I didn't want it. And
is this in
I noticed when all the girls, certain girls on Orange, changed. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's like a real thing. Like it's all a real thing. And it's scary because they send like people after you and they can like kind of moonlight as like a friend or.
Guys, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think I've ever heard them call it that, but I think we know exactly what she's talking about, especially when she mentioned the living forever part. Now, how many actors and actresses do we need to come out and all speak about similar things like this before we start taking it seriously? I keep telling you that they have to tell you these things because if they don't, then there is karmic retribution involved. They know they can say things like this and people will just laugh it off as humor.
I just heard of a study where prisoners can get out of jail if they give their memories to the doctors to give to other people. And I'm like, I'm never doing that.
No way.
Yes, I heard that. What we call cloning is actually a siphoning of consciousness into another physical being that replicates the one before it. So that's what they do with celebrities. And they steal a consciousness. Saddam Hussein, he had 5 decoys that looked just like him. So you didn't really know what he looked like.
Wow.
Did you know that NASA conveniently made a deal with Nikon right before the total solar eclipse of April of 2024? And coincidentally, Nikon also discontinued the Nikon P1000, aka the Globe Buster, because it has 125x optical zoom. So you can zoom in on ships that disappeared below the horizon. Or you can zoom in on the stars and see that they aren't what NASA tells us they are. But apparently they discontinued the P1000 to release the P1100. But the thing is, the 1100 uses digital enhancement the images are digitally enhanced. So that means that it's manipulating the images that you're seeing. So if you go and try to study the stars with the P1100, it's not going to look like this. See, the Globe Buster took a video of this right here. Does that look trillions of miles away? Entertainment only.
Do you think UFOs can be staged?
We've tried it. CIA even had this idea in their head. They were going to have Jesus appear as a vision over Havana to convince the Cubans to overthrow Castro. That was on the books. They were going to use holograms or something. That was
See how
back in
they
the
play
70s.
us?
So we know how to do this kind of stuff. We can make things appear and disappear with stagecraft. What's the difference between that and a UFO sighting? Vietnamese believed in vampires, they believed in ghosts, and they exploited that. They made them appear. Maybe they've gotten that far to realize that they can create the scientific apparatus to induce a spiritual breakdown.
Y'all need.
See, that was what he say in the 80s, 70s. They were gonna project Jesus in the sky so that they overthrow Castro, Cuba. 70s and 80s, y'all, and it was gonna look 4K HD. So imagine what they got now. We got a clip coming up about DARPA, how they're so 20 years ahead of us. What the technology we have. So think about that was the 80s, the 80s, 70s. I don't know what she said, 70s or 80s. They were going to put a projection up in the sky to look so real that the Cubans were going to overthrow their leader. That's how real that image was going to look up there in the 70s and 80s.
It's called the Tyrone
9/11?
Mays rat experiment. It went down in 1940. He ended up getting it from another psychiatrist in 1840. It's called the Tyrone Mays rat experiment. And what they did was they took a few hundred rats, right? And they splitted them and they divided them. And what they did was they created an environment for both of these rats to live in. In one subject, they took about 100 rats and they put it in an environment where it had clean water. They put it in an environment where it had a right amount of space for the rats can, get, basically if they wanted to be by themselves, they could. They made sure that it was good food in there that didn't have any type of poisons put inside the foods. They even gave them space to breathe, to go upstairs, downstairs. They just gave them this abundant environment, right? They put these rats in there. Mind you, these are the same rats with the same genetical molecular structure, which is nothing different. They both came from the same mama,
What the
the
heck
same
did they
daddy,
do?
the same family tree, right? So they
Started a
took these rats,
business?
they put one in a good environment, then they put the other 100 rats in a bad environment where they didn't get water. If they did get water, the water actually had acids in it. They made sure they didn't give them the regular food. I think they gave them like cat food or something like that with a bunch of pellets that was inside of them, right? They stuck them on top of each other. And they made sure that the space was very, very small. They never cleaned any poop out of the maze. They pissed out of the maze, and they left them in there. They left them in there for 4 months, and they watched how their behavior changed. They went back and they got the actual rats that came from the good environment, and they put them in the maze. They ended up going through the maze very, very fast. Then they ended up going to get the rats that they put in the bad environment and put them in the maze, and they didn't know how to even make it through the first section of the maze. So he like, maybe this is a coincidence. So he did it. So what he did was he switched the rats. He took the rats that was smart, that made it through the maze, that was in the good environment, and he put them in the bad environment. Then he took the rats that was in the bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze at all, and he put them in the good environment. He waited 4 months. Then he took them back out. The same rats that was good and smart, that was in the good environment, that he put in the bad environment, now they couldn't make it through the maze. The same rats that was in the bad environments, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze, he put them in a good environment. Now they making it through the maze and making it through life just fine. So he said, damn, it ain't the genetics. It ain't who these people is as individuals. It's the community. It's the environment that you put these biological entities in that changes the way they interact with.
I 100% believe in that, y'all, because I was a lab rat, right? I was a lab rat. Now, where I went to school, now I brought this up a while ago, and I was getting comments saying you were just bad. These kids that were in those bad sections were just bad kids, and they didn't behave, and they outspoke to. That's what I was told in the comments, y'all, which is crazy. But I went to school from kindergarten till middle of sixth grade in not the nicest neighborhood, right? In Avondale School District, out in Phoenix, Avondale School District. Now it's not like super ghetto, but it is the lower end of middle class, right? So in the middle of 6th grade, we moved. We moved, on the other side of the I-10. Anyone that's familiar with that area, one side of the I-10 is not the nicest. The other side of the I-10 is nice, right? So we moved on the other side of the freeway, the I-10, to, Litchfield area, right? I went to the Litchfield School District. Now in Avondale, I was honor roll student from kindergarten to the middle of 6th grade, honor roll, right? A's and B's. That's all I did. A's and B's. I was ahead of my classmates, right? Moved to Litchfield, I was behind, y'all. I was behind. I from middle of 6th grade on till I graduated senior year, struggled. I never caught up. I never caught up. Now I was never put in tutoring. I was never like this. Eventually I was like, I kind of just gave up with school. Like I don't understand what they're talking about. It doesn't comprehend with me. Right. But rat I was in that lab test over here where, you know, I was ahead of people, right? But when I went over here, those people were light years ahead. Over in Avondale, I was learning, subtracting and adding still, maybe getting into multiplication. When I went to Litchfield, they were doing long division, they were doing decimals, they were doing fractions, they were doing the power of whatever. I had no idea what they were talking about over there, y'all. And so I really vouch for that study because I'm living proof of it. Like when I went to this school in a bad area, I was good over there. But when I went to the smarter area, boy, they were way ahead of what they're teaching these kids in the lower poverty area.
Of this group of individuals is reptilian. But I do want to say that not all reptilians are bad, right? We do have good reptilians, just like we have good and bad humans, right?
Sure.
If you want to kind of
Makes
polarize that, right? And they believe that, this planet is rightfully theirs because they're the ones who were here long before humans were. So they feel like they have an ownership over the planet. And I can empathize with that position.
You said the Anunnaki were the ones that told them they couldn't be in power anymore, right? I think the last time we talked, you said maybe it was the Anunnaki left too. It was the Galactic Federation that said this is the humans' planet. Anunnaki are like, bye. And the reptilians are like, no.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
What does the Galactic Federation have to say about who still owns this planet?
It's prophesized that human beings, right, this hybrid species that we are meant to be here, right? And the reptilians are free to be here as well, as long as they're okay with the shifting of the energies. And they're not okay with that because what that's doing is it's bringing the power to humanity, to the people, where we just haven't had it since Atlantis and Lemuria. Because of the downfall, like the lower frequency, and then the control of the reptilians.
So the reptilians are of a lower frequency.
Yes.
And so the rise of frequency is not in there. It's not resonant with them, and it's resonant with us. So it essentially creates a bigger divide between us and them.
Exactly.
And is it that they can't tolerate that new frequency, and will they have to end up leaving because they won't be able to exist in it?
Exactly. So what's happening right now is a lot of them are transmuting. So what that means is like, so, I mean, you could also consider death a transmutation, right? Transmuting is just energy moving from one form to another. A lot of the reptilians right now are transmuting into the light.
In this recording from India, locals filmed a giant snake-like creature that moved inside the cave. Interestingly, it was near this cave that local fishermen recently found the shed scales of an abnormally giant snake. But these are not all the secrets that hide the local caves. There are a huge number of caves in India, as well as throughout Asia, and most of them have not been explored even by 1%. The most disturbing thing is that their depth is not fully known, and just imagine what forms of life unknown to science can live there. Also, the structure of these caves often resembles giant burrows, as if these endless labyrinths were dug by something gigantic. And there are a lot of mysterious recordings on the internet on which unknown creatures are recorded. Locals generally try not to go into these caves, and it's not even that you can find something inexplicable there. The thing is that even the torch fire goes out in these caves, as there is a huge amount of carbon monoxide in many areas. And daredevils who still decide to explore these caves often encounter strange creatures in them. And you can watch the full videos of expeditions from these caves yourself by entering the TikTok mystery of Indian caves in the search.
Normal target band-aid. Look at the sides.
It glows on the sides, y'all pay attention.
That is weird.
What is that? Do you see that? It glows. Like, this is mind-blowing to me. Are my band-aids like radioactive? Or have I lived 41 years and didn't know that's what happens when you open Band-Aids?
Hey, some of y'all already know this, but if somebody call your phone from an unknown number, a number you ain't never seen before, they number not saved or anything, if they call you, do not just answer the phone saying hello, and then if they ask you a question, don't just straight up and say yes. You know what I'm saying? Because they can clone, they can get all that. So what you should do is, like, when they call you, and if you don't know who it is, you've never seen a number before in your life, you know, when they call you, just answer the phone. Just don't say anything. Just hold the phone. Just hold the phone, and then let them say something to reveal who they are. Or you can answer the phone just by saying, "Who is this?" or "How can I help you?" or something like that. You gotta flip it. You gotta flip it back around on them, because what they trying to do is they trying to get you to say hello and yes, so they can use that, they can clone that, and then they can use that to go, you know, try to do some stuff to just all kind of crazy stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? Act like they you. So be careful, man. It's dangerous. Be careful.
Right.
Well, think about that. So before 7,000 years ago, there was nobody on the planet with white skin. This is a scientific fact. So where did they come from? They're able to organize themselves better. They have a heightened sense of urgency. They've colonized every place, because obviously where they come from, the resources they go after don't exist.
Right.
So how is it that on every continent, all of the indigenous people living in villages got this skin? Show me any place on the planet where you can find a village with white people with no contact from other human beings.
Dude, have you seen that video? It was a university, and they have AI policing surveillance robots flying around the university, and they called the police because they saw a kid walking around with a gun. And so, the AI robot calls the police. Hundreds of police show up, and they get this kid who happens to be black. They pull him out, and guess what he has in his hand? What? A Doritos bag.
Oh no.
A Doritos
And
bag.
it just, was it like crumbled up and it looked like a gun or something?
Apparently. But it's one of those
Yeah, I
things.
heard that he went and threw it in the trash can, and they're like, "Oh, he's trying to get rid of it."
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was a Doritos bag.
It was a Doritos
that poor
bag.
guy.
And he was held at gunpoint, this kid.
He's just
and
like,
he
what the
was
heck
just
is going
walking
on?
back to his dorm. And it's like, what are we doing?
I tell you what, though, that
when
kid's
are we
college is free.
Oh man, not even
freaking
college.
generous,
Came up
dude.
off that.
Probably. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It
That might have been a
better be.
blessing.
That's
Yeah.
like that. It's stuff like that that's
Yeah.
insane to me.
Was
That's
that
like,
in the U.S.?
Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah, it was
crazy.
somewhere in the South.
Okay, this new Netflix house gaming studio thing is fucking insane, and they're literally gonna steal your identity. Just hear me out. Allegedly, and also I'm not a lawyer. Giving myself some credibility, I studied criminal justice, sociology, psychology. I got my master's in domestic homeland security, and I went to law school. I failed the bar 3 times. I'm not a good test taker. However, I know a few things about social media and data and all these things kind of combining. Somebody posted this on TikTok, and essentially it says that when you enter Netflix house, you give Netflix the right to use your name, your likeness, and your voice in any use worldwide forever without compensation, right? And immediately I was like, there's just no fucking way that that's real, right? Because that's so scary. It's real, and it's worse than I thought it was. So I took my ass over to netflixhouse.com/terms, and there was all this hoopla. And I don't like what they're doing. Basically, when you go in and you read all the terms, when you walk in there, you're giving them everything. You're giving them your face, your movements, your identity, how you talk, how you walk. You're giving them everything. And you're giving them the right to AI generate you. And you're giving them the right to use all that in their content without compensating you whatsoever. Oh, and if you bring your child in there, you're also saying that it's okay for them to take your child's data, which is scary. So then I got to thinking, why would they be doing this, right? Well, I live in New Jersey, and if you know, New Jersey is the home to the new Netflix, Hollywood studio, essentially. And we know that Warner Brothers, Netflix, merge, we know that there's a lot happening in the entertainment industry. They're going to need a lot more content to get put out. It's going to be AI generated. It's going to be fucking us. You could not catch me dead walking in there. Dead. Because I worked in internet crimes against children and special victims while in law school. And how the heck do I know that you're not going to go into adult content? Saw that once or twice in a case. I don't like that. One of the reasons I went to law school and why I'm getting into entertainment law, social media law, is literally to protect you guys against this. Again, not a lawyer yet. We're getting there, but I'm just saying I would really look into what you're giving up when walking into certain establishments. That is all.
Magic is so real.
A ritual is something that you do over and over and over again. It doesn't have to be something satanic. It
No,
doesn't have
not
to
at
be
all.
magical.
That's what's so sad is that
OCD people have rituals. I have rituals.
Right. But what's so sad is that magic is so real, and
It is.
It's such a it's been erased from our entire history because it's so scary to know that.
Look at his tattoos, y'all. Like, he did that to cover his tattoos, right? But I don't know. How do you wake up in the morning and be like you got to make, I mean, think about it. Everyone looks in the mirror and you judge yourself, right? Like, is he looking in the mirror like, damn, this is badass? Like, I can only imagine the pain every day looking in the mirror and seeing that. I got one tattoo and I wish I never got it. Sorry
We
to
all have
interrupt.
the power to create a product out of a dream.
Amber says, do a post on how they used to make kids suck on silver spoons when they got ill to help them heal faster. Silver is a conductive material. So if you put a silver spoon in your mouth, you're increasing the conductivity of your body. So if you're under the influence of illness, which is known as sickness or dis-ease, putting that silver spoon in your mouth will help bring back the conductivity and heal the body. And when we think of the olden times, everybody had silver spoons. All of their food would touch silver spoons. Silver spoons exert conductivity. So if you think about it, if you're eating with a conductive material the entire time, you're keeping the life force of your food. Now, if you take a plastic fork and put it in your mouth, which is derived from DuPont, you're losing the conductivity, which would make it so that you would not be able to repair as fast. And somebody just said, born with a silver spoon in their mouth. That is the beautiful conductivity that is going into the body. And silver, very valuable resource. When we get into this old world and the world fairs in St. Louis and Chicago and New York City and Philadelphia, silver is everywhere. All silver is all over the place. Silver, gold, brass, bronze, copper, all these materials. And
I'm thinking of start investing in some gold and silver. So anybody that's in that game, because I've gotten comments I remember from the past, talking about they own gold and whatnot. Email me and give me the game on gold and silver. Like, do you just go buy ounces of gold and silver or whatever? Like, let me know in my email, not in the comments, y'all. It's hard to read every comment, but if you can email me, anybody that knows about gold and silver, knows the game, email me, y'all.
The psychics do, and they're doing something.
Down There's below.
Something to it. Well, if you know Tyler Henry, isn't that the Hollywood?
Yes,
yeah. So I wired him up with a EEG thing while he was reading Steve-O, and what the neuroscientist and I were looking at, and he'd never seen an EEG that looked like that before. He was at once hyper vigilantly awake and asleep. He was like,
wild.
I cannot explain this. And if you know Tyler, he sweats like crazy, meaning that the autonomic nervous system is also involved, and his heart rate goes way down when he's into it. And that fits with what I see Cindy and her type doing.
Yeah.
They're tuning into something. They're going to a different state that I'm used to. And they have abnormal eye movements, like non-biological eye movements. Something is going on.
So there's this crazy mushroom that reliably makes you see tiny cartoon people. Not random stuff, specifically 2 centimeter tall humans marching around your actual environment and interacting with stuff. One professor in China described lifting his tablecloth during dinner to find hundreds of these little dudes marching like soldiers. When he lifted it higher, their heads stuck to the underside of the cloth while their bodies kept marching in place. What's even crazier is that people across totally different cultures report the exact same hallucination. Papua New Guinea, China, Philippines, different countries, different languages, but everyone sees the same tiny people doing similar things. That's way too oddly specific to be a coincidence. So scientists have analysed the mushroom and found 0 known psychoactive compounds. No psilocybin, nothing. So whatever chemical makes you see little people is completely unknown to science. Right now they're feeding it to mice trying to find out what the hell is in there. Interestingly, a 1700-year-old Chinese text mentions a flesh spirit mushroom that when eaten raw allows you to see a little person and attain transcendence immediately. So have humans been tripping on this throughout history? This mushroom was sold in markets for decades before scientists even identified the species in 2014. We still don't know how it works in 2025. Makes you wonder what else is out there just waiting for someone to notice.
This is the whole music industry. Watch this.
What did Meek Mill say? But if we get paid to rap about that stuff, they actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff, so I make sure So they're told to push a certain narrative, right? Now, why would they do that? Seems like Ice Cube knows why. Recently, he was on the Club Random podcast, and this is what he said.
The same people who own the labels own the prisons. Literally the same people? Literally the same people. It seems really suspicious, if you want to say that word. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
Told you.
I mean, us conspiracy minds already knew, right? I did a video on this last year, and it must be
Yeah,
well
I've heard
known in
about
the
this a
industry.
long
Listen
time
to
ago.
what Tekashi says. I bet you there's rappers in here right now that can rap way better than you. You can rap way better than me. You will never be where I'm at because this industry is rigged.
Yep.
It's rigged. And Tupac must have been presented with this information back then, because look at what he says about the future of rap. Listen.
Shit, I don't know. It depends on his balls. You know, he's got big nuts like me. It's gonna
Tom is sending me these long emails that he's getting, right? And he's saying, what the hell do you make of this?
Uh-huh.
Right? And we get on the phone and we start talking about this. And I'm saying, we're having an all the president's men moment right here. I said, we're having a deep throat moment because people are trying to tell us something without telling us something.
Right.
You know, it's like follow the money, right?
Yeah.
They're giving us hints of where we should go on this. And we have to pay attention to what they're not telling us and what they're telling us. And this came across because at one point, somebody sent us this long email. One of his most trusted advisors said, have you really looked, how much do you know about Greek mythology? It's like, whoa.
Who said that?
I can't say.
Okay.
So he came out and said that. It was a he.
Mhm.
He came out and said, do that, right? And it's specifically talking about Prometheus. Now that gives the show away, right? If we take the Prometheus story as an encrypted story of what actually happened, we're getting close. And I think that is what it is. There, at some point, somebody did something they weren't supposed to do. And it might have jump-started civilization on this planet, right? It might have been that. But Prometheus suddenly became the thing. And so Tom is saying, what do we know about Prometheus? You know? And so I'm saying, let's take it easy. Let's go. You know, Prometheus was this guy who stole fire from the gods, right? For the humans, he was giving fire to the humans. Humans didn't have fire. They were freezing their asses off. Prometheus came down and said, here's fire, get warm, you know? And the gods didn't like that. So they punished Prometheus. You know, you're going to get chained to a rock, you know? You're going to be punished for the rest of your existence for this thing. So I said, let's go back and look at this. This is what they're trying to tell. They're trying to tell us something. And what is Prometheus about? It's about contact between the humans and the gods. And the one who made the contact was a god, not one of the humans.
That's right. And it was a god who was transgressing on behalf of humans against the gods themselves, sort of a rebel,
right?
You know, sleeper cell god.
Yeah. Which the Gnostics believed was the serpent in the Garden of Eden, that the serpent was God, that the God that we know of from the Bible was the imposter, the interloper, the guy who was not really God.
So I got breakfast with Tom DeLonge once, who I love, by the way. I think he's a
great guy.
He's the best.
Yeah.
And he actually referenced Gnostic thought at the time. He was talking about the archons, who were considered kind of almost imprisoners of the kind of lower material world and like Gnostic ideology. And you hear Gnostic thought, you know, run across a lot of ufology. Like it seems like Jacques Vallée is roughly kind of Gnostic in his orientation.
Have you heard of the two-way app? The concept is that you can still communicate with your deceased loved ones.
Oh boy.
It's like they're FaceTiming. And
Was
the
I just
commercial
saying
was like
that?
she was FaceTiming with her mother that passed.
With AI,
And the
probably.
Baby grows up, becomes like an adult, and then he's FaceTiming with his grandmother. And it's her voice, her likeness.
You take the app and you record a video of the person before they pass away. You have them turn to the side. You have them say a few sentences and words. That way the AI can take it and then make their own voice.
What the hell is going on this planet? According to NASA, an underwater volcano nicknamed Sharkano erupted yesterday and released mutant sharks. Now, mind you, these sharks have been living, surviving. Let me say that again. Living and surviving in that volcano in that acidic, hot-ass water. And now they lose. It's like every day we get another movie to play with. Now, what kind of movie is this? Sharknado? So 2024, basically what you're saying is, first, the drones, Then it's too many dens to go through. So we have mutant sharks swimming around in these waters with snacks. It's another reason why I say I'm never going on no more cruises. I done went on all the cruises I'm going to go on. I'm not swimming in no nothing. I ain't going to no beaches. I'm not doing none of that. Because for this shit to be going on, it's something crazy. My question is scientists and the people who know about this, how were these sharks surviving in those type of conditions? We wouldn't be able to survive there. Let me ask you a question. Are the sharks the ill? I ain't gonna say it. I'm out.
What are the most bizarre and dark secrets you know about DARPA?
They are always 20 years ahead of anything that you or I know. So any technology that is like, what the hell was that I just saw and you're not supposed to have seen? That's DARPA. Right?
They were doing Neuralink in the 90s, right?
They are always doing things 20 years before you know about them because they do what is called blue sky technology.
Blue sky
right?
research and technology, yes.
And they have to be ahead of the curve. They have to be, right? But if North Korea launches one missile at us, we're going to launch 82 in response. There's a policy in the United States called launch on warning. The president must make a counterattack decision before those nukes land. A strike with a 1 megaton thermonuclear weapon against Washington, D.C., 2 million people, 82 nuclear weapons could possibly obliterate their nuclear command and control. Russia was so paranoid that the United States was going to launch a preemptive nuclear attack against it. They created a system whereby ground sensors would be able to determine nuclear bombs hitting the Russian soil. And if they weren't hearing from the nuclear command and control, the dead hand system would launch all of Russia's remaining nuclear weapons without even needing a hand to push the button, hence the name the dead hand. It set up a system to launch even if we're all dead.
Wow. And we the people have no control over that.
I think it's only a matter of time at this point before we have a sitting president step to the microphone and have the biggest moment a leader can possibly have, which is telling all of humanity that we're not alone in the universe and that
no shit.
The United States intends to lead the way.
Could it be President Trump?
I think it could be. I think Rubio is one of the most informed people in the United States with regard to this topic. And right now he's our Secretary of State and our National Security Advisor.
Yes. Disclosure is right now as we speak happening. There's way too much going on in the media, in the movies and politics for it not to happen. But what disclosure actually means, what this word actually means and what it refers to and what actually
Nobody's
could be
gonna care.
happening as opposed to what we see happening are two very different things. So that's what we want to unpack. But the first thing I want to say is that we are now in a social and cultural and political moment where truly, if needed, if such a moment were needed, the president could step up to the podium and start talking about aliens and UFOs and UAPs at any given time. That is a full potential now, and we'll unpack why that is. But what is hyping right now, the media and everybody, is the new documentary, The Age of Disclosure, which is a very polished mainstream documentary. It features 34 government officials talking. The movie was allegedly filmed in secrecy. It was first aired in March, and then it's now been on Amazon Prime since November 21st. And it features prominently the current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, which begs the question, if it was filmed before Trump's re-election, how would they know to pick Rubio?
He took money out of Big's contract to pay for Big's funeral. Big paid for his own funeral.
That's insane.
He called Big the day of. Big was supposed to go to UK to promote the album and to do like some media and to just kind of get away from shit because he was tired of the beef and shit.
Yeah.
He was already saying he felt like niggas was trying to kill him. Diddy was adamant about throwing a party on enemy turf. This how he get it in with the trying to be a gangster shit. I'm gonna throw a party over here. He canceled niggas' flights, told niggas if they took Biggie on the plane, he was gonna fire him. Had Biggie come to this shit en route to the party, nigga gets the car shot up. Biggie died. This nigga on MTV at the MTV Awards dressed in all white, dancing his ass off.
Frolicking on stage.
Frolicking.
Just goddamn. Goddamn.
And always had wanted to be a rapper, always wanted to be an artist, and everybody was like, he sucks.
Yeah,
like,
he's terrible.
He's a terrible artist. He's
trash.
not great.
Nah.
He, like, if you go back and listen to that shit, then like, this shit was ass.
Nah, he's trash.
He's trash.
Yeah.
So he used that as an opportunity to become the star. Should they say shit wrong?
He didn't. He didn't.
Craig Mack was finna sign with Death Row.
Mm-hmm.
Biggie died. Craig Mack like, I'm cool. I ain't going nowhere. Fucked Up had no bread.
Yeah.
Craig Mack had no bread. Flavor in Your Ear, probably biggest song in the country.
Yeah.
No bread. He has no money. He asked Diddy for money. Said Diddy pulled out a knot of money, peeled off one $100 bill and gave it to him in front of everybody.
That's insane. Insane. Diabolical. Evil.
That nigga's evil, son.
Evil nigga.
He's an evil nigga.
Well, that's why he didn't sign X, because he couldn't control X like that. X would have beat his ass.
X would have killed him.
Yeah.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You know what to do. You made it this far. Leave that like, leave that comment, leave that subscribe. I appreciate all the love you guys have been showing. Not much going on today. Got to go get a pump in. I don't know, y'all. The past couple days, I've been eating like some clean. I haven't been feeling good carnivore. Just I don't, up and down, y'all. And these past couple days, I've been eating like probably like 150, 170 grams of carbs, y'all. And when I'm doing these videos, I am like so focused. It's when I'm doing carnivore, I'm doing this, I'm falling asleep. I'm like, I want this to be over. When is this over? Like eating this way, I'm just so zoomed in. Like I'm gonna give it the rest of the year and see how I feel, see how everything is. But you know, I've been working out and I've been, you know, focused on these videos. So I think I'm gonna stick with this for a little while because, you know, I'm just focusing on hitting my protein and hitting a calorie deficit. That's it. I'm not worried about tracking fat, tracking carbs. Those amazingly fall in place perfect when you're just counting your protein, y'all, and making sure you're eating in a caloric deficit, right? So that's the plan for me, y'all. But I got to get out there, wash the cars. Today's going to be a nice 70-degree day. Tomorrow's going to be colder and Monday's going to be cold. So I'm going to make sure I get out there and wash the cars today. Family's coming in towards the end of next week. They're going to be here visiting, checking out the baby before Christmas because we're not going home I'm not going home for the holidays. For Christmas, we're going to skip this year. Mama Bear, she doesn't want to sit in a car for 6 hours, being, what is she? Probably like 6 months pregnant, something like that, 5-6 months pregnant. So, we're just going to chill out over here. But anyways, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get downstairs, eat some lunch, go clean the cars, go get a quick workout in, spend some time with the family. Y'all, hope everyone out there has a good day. This is Segovia signing out of the Man Cave. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.